Today we are going to talk about Azure Virtual Network architectural concept. It would be absolutely basics, and we have already covered a lot of virtual network in the AZ300 series that is going on simultaneously. But as as per the community members request, I'm creating this video where we'll be talking about the basic concepts of IP addressing, subnets, and address space. Okay, so let's get started. So, in order to create a virtual network, let's understand first what is a virtual network. Okay, so virtual network is something which provides you the isolation, okay, from the entire world. Once you create your virtual network, it is totally isolated from the outside world. And until you create, you know, traffic or tunneling or allow outside traffic to come inside, until then it is totally secure, isolated network. Or you can say it is a fundamental building block for your network in Azure, rather private network in Azure. Okay, and it is absolutely necessary for resources where or which require the IP addresses. Okay, for example, a VM. All right, so your VM requires private IP address. You cannot create a VM without a private IP address. All right, so let's go and try to understand this thing. Let's suppose we have a VM inside here. Okay, this is our VM, and it has an x dot x dot x dot x dot x IP address. Okay, and this IP address that I'm saying xxx, from where this is coming? This is coming from the address space that we defined when we create the virtual network. Okay, so in order to create a virtual network, what we need? We need an address space. Okay, let me write this down here in order to understand it better. Address space, and this address space would help us to define subnets, and our VM is residing inside a subnet. Okay, always subnet. So this IP address is coming from the subnet, and the IP address for the subnet is coming from the address space. Hope this part is absolutely clear. Now, address space is the range of an IP address. And to define a range of an IP address, we use CIDR notation. Okay, so if I need to IP range cider notation. And in form of cider notation, we give the address space and subnets. To be precise, it would be like 10.0.0.0 slash, we give some numbers here, let's suppose 8. So this form of IP address is the cider notation because it represents a range. Okay. Now let's get back to the address space. Address space is the range of IP address, as I said. So what kind of range? What all IP address can come here? Okay, so in general, we have 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255. This is the all IP address range that is available for you to use IPv4. Okay, and to create your private network, virtual network, or you can say a private network, there is a range defined or classes defined to use those IP address in your private network. Okay, what are those ranges? We have class A range, there would be 10.0.0.0/8. I'll explain it later what it means, but for now we are only writing the classes. Class B 172.16.0.0/12, and we have C 192.168.0.0/16. These are the three private address range that you or we utilize in our architecture or to create a virtual network or a private network. Okay, now let's understand what it is. Okay, so if I could explain you this here, right here, IP address, how it looks like, x.x.x.x. Let me make it a little bigger, easy to understand. X, okay, x dot x dot x dot x. That's how an IP address looks like, right? Whether it's a public IP address or a private IP address. Now we need to understand what X is and how the cider notation works with respect to these IP addresses. Okay. All right. So if I need to explain, an X is equal to 8 byte, and that is equal to 1 byte. That is, we also call this an octet. Okay, so this single X right here is called an octet, and an IP address is consist of 4 octets. Octet is representing 8-bit, so 4 into 8 is equal to 32. All right, so each octet is 8, and we have total 4 octets, so total we have 32. All right, so now let's get back to this 10.0.0.0/8. Now what it means, 8 means 1 octet. We already figured that part here. So 8 means 1 octet, which is not going to change, because cider notation is what? It is a range. We define it here. Cider notation is a range. Okay, now this part is 1 octet. Why it's not working? Oh, it's my mouse. Okay, let me write it down again. 10 dot, yes, 0.0.0/8. Now because of 8, it means this will not change. It would be constant. So the range would become, that means the range is 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. Okay, now let's suppose you have 10.0.0.0/16 defined as an address space in your private network. What it means? 16 means 2 octet, 8 plus 8. Okay, that means these two are not going to change, and your range would become 10.0.0.0 to 10.0.255.255. Okay, I hope this part is clear. The after slash part is the octet which is going to be constant and not going to change. For example, here it is not changed, but the rest two are changing. You see, 255 to 255. Similarly here, this is not changing. This is not changing, and rest is. Okay, and same goes with the other IP ranges. Cool. Okay, now let's talk about how we calculate the CIDR range. For example, for the address space, we choose, and like we do not have a very huge or big environment, so we chose a very small range. Let's suppose /24. What it means? It simply means these 3 octet is not going to change. These would be the constant, and I have the range of IP address from 0 to 255. That would be the last octet will change from 0 to 255. Okay, so how many subnets you can create? Well, it depends. For example, if I talk about Azure, we cannot create any subnet that we want because 5 IPs always reserved. So the smallest subnet is /29. So we can create 10.0.0.0/29, and this means dot 0, this means 0 to 10.0.0. How much? There would be, if I say 32 is the total number of octets and 29 is not going to be used. So 32 minus 29, how much we have? We got 3. So it would be 2 into 2 into 2. 3 times 2. That means 2 into 2 into 2. How much there would be? There would be 8. So your range would be 8. Okay. Now, if you want to design another subnet, what can you do? You can go ahead and make from here 8 slash, you can choose. Okay. Let's suppose you chose 28. Now, how much would that be? There would be 10.0.0.8 till 10.0.0 dot how much? 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 into 2. 32 minus 28, that would be 4. So how much that would be? 16, right? So your range is, you would add 16 here. 24. I'm sorry, 32. It would be 24. So your range would be this much. Okay, so these subnets are coming from this range. If your range is /24, you cannot choose /23 for your subnet. Okay, hope this make all the sense. All right, and I said first three IPs, if I talk about Azure, first three IPs, that would be if we choose 10.0.0.0 slash, let's suppose 29. That was our first subnet. That means dot 1, sorry, dot 0 is the first IP, then dot 1, and then dot 2, and then dot 3. These four IPs are reserved. Okay, and the last IP, what would that be? In this particular case, there would be dot 8. Okay, so these 5 IP addresses are reserved in case of Azure for the internal usage, and we got only 3 IPs, that is the usable IPs. Now if I talk about 0, the first IP is the network address, and dot 1 is reserved by Azure for the default gateway. 2 and 3 is reserved to map the Azure DNS IPs to the Vnet, and 8 is your broadcast address. Okay, cool. I hope this CIDR range is clear now, and how we choose the address space. If you do not have that huge of our infrastructure, you can go with the small CIDR ranges. And I have this, you can simply go ahead and do the online, find the online calculator for your subnet. Here it is. You can see from here, you can figure it out what would be your IP range. For example, I have this, and if I choose our first 29 and calculate, what would be the IP range? Number of hosts 8. You see, 0 to 7, total 8. Okay, all right. So I think I did a little mistake here. Let me show you what I meant by this. Here it is not a sorry, right here this is the 7, because 0 is, you are also counting 0, so this would be 7. This would be 7. Okay, so total number of IPs is 8, and that's why we have 8 to 24. So that's all about it. Now if you want to talk about a little bit of private IP address and public IP address, we have these two kind of IP addresses in the Azure: private and public. Public is used for communication with the internet, including Azure public facing services, and private IP addresses that come from the private network or the address space or the subnet that you choose. Okay, and this is used for communication within an Azure virtual network and your on-premises network when you use a VPN gateway or express route. All right. Now, there are so many services in Azure where you must need a public IP address. It's not like you would never need public IP address. For example, you can place it on a virtual machine for your requirement if there is any. You can use internet facing load balancer, you can use VPN gateways, application gateways, Azure firewall. These all are for the public. Okay, all right. So I think that's all about it. And this would help to create a wonderful virtual network without any kind of hesitation in idle situation. Let me give you one more example. In idle situation, what we do, we create a network in this particular way. We have address space, and out of that address space, we usually create at least 3 subnets. It usually more, but I'm giving you 3 subnets. The first one would be your DMZ. The second one would be your app subnet, and the third one would be your DB subnet. You may have your fourth for your AD subnet, and you can create your test subnet and UAT. You can define all these and subnets as per your infrastructure, and all these CIDR would come from the address space. Well, I think that's all about it, and thank you for watching. Hope this would help, and let's meet in another video. Bye bye.